do you have patience to go wrong? When we started in 2007, if you do any kind of backtesting, 20% return was like this.
My guest today is Gaurik Shah, 19 years across 4 institutional seats. He set up India's first pure quant research desk at MAPE Securities. He traded Delta One and Asian indices at RBS. Out of Hong Kong, he ran systematic strategy at Monsoon Capital across Mumbai and Singapore. He managed a Category 3 AIF book at Avendus. He is now Senior Vice President at Mirae Asset and Fund Manager of Platinum Hybrid Long Short Fund, the first in the series of SIF from Mirae Asset. Let's begin. Welcome, Gaurik.
Thank you, Dhirendra. It's been a pleasure and in a way like a dream for me to be sitting here with you.
Oh, you're welcome. I have a lot of questions for you. You studied instrumentation and control engineering at PICT.
Yeah.
And you spent a year at Infosys writing code. You then ended up running quant strategies out of Hong Kong. Walk us back to the moment finance became inevitable.
So for me, finance was always the goal. Growing up in Mumbai, my family always had the roots in finance. They had that history of being in stock market. Remember, recently my father passed away a couple of months back, and I was going through some papers. I came across a stock certificate of some company dating back to 1958.
1958.
Yes.
Okay.
My grandfather would have bought
That
it
company
sometime.
still exists?
No, unfortunately no. Okay. So, but it was there. And growing up in 90s India, the predominant path for a serious students used to be, there are only a couple of paths which serious student would take. So engineering was inevitable for me that way. But goal was to get into finance. Then after engineering, obviously, Infosys happened. And then did my MBA. Then I got a break into the finance industry. And to be frank about it, that was a fate. I ended up in a quant desk. Someone was setting up quant desk.
So it was accidental. You did not choose it, it just came your way.
It just came my way.
So what exactly you learned at Infosys which has helped thereafter or subsequently?
Couple of things is that one thing is obviously being a quant, you need to be able to create that algorithm, think systematically. And that was the first time I was exposed to writing code, and writing code basically you first have to create algorithms. So you have to think of different things about it. You have to think it through. You cannot leave any one thing, how do I put it?
A structured thinking.
Yeah,
the
you have
program
to have
won't
structured
run.
thing. Yes. So there's a lot of things, there's always this confusion in difference between a systematic trader and a technical trader, right? So technical traders always will point out different traits to you. Okay, this is the point where it worked well. This is the point where it worked well. But when you sit down to write a code or sit down to write an algorithm, you have to also think of traits which did not work.
All the failures.
All the failures also. And then you have to sum it up. So it helps to do that.
So in 2007 at MAPE, you helped set up what was India's first pure quant research desk.
Yeah.
Who took the idea seriously then and who dismissed it?
So I'll have to give credit to one Mr. Mahesh Bhagwat, who had this idea.
Give me the context. You landed at MAPE after your MBA.
Yes. So
Okay.
I was looking out for a job in finance industry, and we clicked. One of my friend was working in MAPE. MAPE was basically a boutique IB firm. They were setting up this broking unit, and there Mr. Bhagwat was the one who was setting up the broking. And then he had this idea of starting this quantitative research. See, the idea was that time, and this was 2007, which was the heydays of the bull market. There were a lot of trading happening in the prop books in Hong Kong. There were a lot of these things happening from the Singapore hedge funds. And that time, long short or derivatives was not being used by Indian retail clients a lot. They were not being used by mutual fund at all. So those were the clients. They used to do these strategies, and he had those clients. And quantitative trading is an easier way to get into research. When you build up that fundamental desk, you need to incur a lot of cost. Quantitative research is a much easier thing to start up.
It was primarily a cost-driven decision?
The client wanted this, which was not available in the market.
Okay.
So it was both. I would not say it was primarily cost-driven decision,
but novelty of it as well.
Yes, and those were those. I mean, they used to get that fundamental research from 20 different brokers.
Yeah.
No one was giving them this strategies.
Oh, so this was actually a quant strategy being sold on the on the sell side.
So you
to help the sell side.
help the buy side to think about it.
So you're on the sell side and helping people with quant strategies.
Yes.
Okay. Engineering trains you to design system where inputs are known. But market gives you input, markets like you get a googly every other day. How did you rebuild your thinking?
See, market always gives you googly for sure. And one thing which I've learned in 20 years that you have to be ready for googly. When we started in 2007-8, if you do any kind of backtesting, 20% return was like this. You are getting 20% returns in a normal system. There are no issues. You are making money, and that was the norm. That if system is not 20%, don't look at it. Then things changed.
Okay.
So we started at that era, and then if it's making so much money, stop loss did not make sense, because typically what happens is if you any system, you add a stop loss, you add a hedge, you end up reducing your returns.
Yeah.
You look at 10 years CAGR in a backtesting. You look at 10 years CAGR. Then your returns will drop. Then initially the thinking would start with that, why to bear that cost. You are making on an average, you are making that one. So 1 month, 2 months, it's okay.
Why bear that?
Why bear that cost? 1 month, 2 months, it
reduces. Same human thinking that you are healthy. Why buy insurance?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But then there was this one thing which happened, which changed our thinking. There was one trade where we were trading Japan at that point. Right? We had a position in Japan, and we were trend following system. Okay, so trend following system, market goes up, you buy.
Yeah.
Right. So market opened flattish, I think, on that day. It went up 3%. So coming into the day, we had almost like a very flattish position in Japan market. It went up 3%. That position went up around 50-60%. Long we went in Japan. In the same day, it fell 10%.
Okay. That day itself.
So it completely kind of changed our perspective. That after that we started thinking, okay, whatever happens, we need to have a stop loss. You cannot let it. It's still systematic. So we built it into our system.
The cost is worth bearing.
Yes, you have to do.
You can't take shortcuts.
You can't take short.
Okay.
You can't take a position which is. You can't have a trade which does not have a plan when things go awry.
24-year-old engineer comes to you today, and he says that I want to do systematic investing. What is the one question that you would ask him or her before you answer anything?
Do you have patience to go wrong? You are going to learn a lot. And this is an interesting thing you have brought up. What has happened in India over the last, I think, 5-6 years is something different. See, in Western world, most of this innovation in systematic trading, quantitative trading is generally coming from the institutional side of things, right? In India, I am finding it other way around. Nowadays, to do a systematic trading is very easy.
Some engineers become great traders, and many others leave it in a couple of years. Or what is a single trait that separates the two? The same patience or something else? Their own resilience?
It's, I think, individual mindset. So in systematic trading now, we always say that there are different kind of systems. There are system kind of algorithms. One has to know what his own mindset is, what his own persona is, and try to choose a system which is similar to that.
Okay.
Because the biggest advantage systematic trading will give you that is basically patience and sticking to the system. If you are doing trading,
so you mean that discipline remains the big
discipline is the only one factor which actually gives that systematic trading an alpha.
Okay.
I would say. Okay. There would be different systems.
So if you are not well behaved, you will get killed. Yeah. So from research desk to Mumbai, you ended up on trading floor in Hong Kong. Let's go there next.
This is not a casino. Okay, you should not think in terms of this is the only amount I'm putting into F&O space. It's okay, I lose it.